Hello, YouTube. We're going over this article by Vice about the worker who was fired for trying to organize a warehouse. Leaked notes from an internal meeting of Amazon leadership obtained by Vice News reveal company executives discussed a plan to smear fired warehouse employee Christian Smalls. I thought it was Eric Smalls, but Christian Smalls, calling him not smart or articulate as part of a PR strategy to make him the face of the entire union organizing movement. What I think is funny is that they've kind of not entirely succeeded, but he's definitely a face of at least the Amazon organization movement. He is definitely one of the leaders of it now. So obviously their goal was to make him seem like a bumbling idiot and thus discredit the entire movement. He's not smart or articulate, and to the extent the press wants to focus on us versus him, we will be in a much stronger PR position than simply explaining for the umpteenth time how we're trying to protect workers.
Bullshit.
Wrote Amazon General Counsel David Zapolsky in notes from the meeting forwarded widely in the company. The discussion took place at a daily meeting, which included CEO Jeff Bezos, to update each other on the coronavirus situation. Amazon SVP of Global Corporate Affairs Jay Carney described the purpose to CNN on Sunday. We go over the update on what's happening around the world with our employees and with our customers and our businesses. We also spend a significant amount of time just brainstorming about what else we can do about COVID-19. I'm sure they sit around brainstorming about how they can deny proper PPE and time off and sick leave to their people. Zapolsky's notes also detailed Amazon's efforts to buy millions of protective masks to protect its workers from the coronavirus, as well as an effort to begin producing and selling its own masks.
Remember when Amazon was just a bookseller?
So far, the company has secured at least 10 million masks for our operations guys, with 25 million more coming from a supplier in the next 2 weeks, Zapolsky wrote. Amazon fired the warehouse worker Smalls on Monday after he led a walkout of a number of employees at a Staten Island distribution warehouse.
Solidarity! That's what we need more of.
Amazon says he was fired for violating a company-imposed 14-day quarantine after he came into contact with an employee who tested positive for the coronavirus. He was not the only one who came into contact, he was just the only one who was fired and ordered to go on quarantine. Small says the employee who tested positive came into contact with many other workers for longer periods of time before her test came back. He claims he was singled out after pleading with management to sanitize the warehouse and be more transparent about the number of workers who were sick. This is something I got into an argument with my sister about. It was a year ago or a few days ago, I can't remember. She's much more neoliberal than I am, and she was saying that if you want better pay, find another job or ask your boss for a raise. Which anyone knows that for the vast majority of workers, that's not an option. If you talk to your boss about better conditions, this is what happens. You get fired. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario is, best case scenario is your boss is high and gives you a raise. But most of the time you just get laughed out of the office and told, we don't have money for raises.
Because the boss needs to make sure he gets a big bonus this year.
Zapolsky's notes from the meetings detail Amazon's plan to deal with a wave of bad press and calls for investigations from elected officials following the firing of Smalls. They also show top Amazon brass wanted to make Smalls the focus of its narrative when questioned about worker safety. We should spend the first part of our response strongly laying out the case for why the organizers' conduct was immoral, unacceptable, and arguably illegal in detail, and only then follow with our usual talking points about worker safety. Make him the most interesting part of the story, and if possible, make him the face of the entire union organizing movement. Obviously, their goal here was to prop him up as the figurehead of the movement and then show what a bumbling, inarticulate idiot he was and thus discredit the entire movement. Fortunately for the workers and unfortunately for Zapolsky and company, for Amazon, that didn't work. They discussed encouraging Amazon executives to use Smalls to discredit the wider labor movement at Amazon. Employees at the warehouse, known as JFK8, launched an effort to unionize in 2018. If you're not familiar with Amazon's efforts in union busting, they put out a video that was really, really funny. I recommend checking it out. We might do that, but it's a little bit old news. In his notes, Zapolsky wrote that there was general agreement on this point among the other attendees of the meeting. Zapolsky's notes also mention SVP of Worldwide Operations and Customer Service Dave Clark and Senior VP of Human Resources Beth Galletti. Those are two people very in charge of the workers. In a statement to Vice News, Zapolsky said his comments were personal and emotional.
I'm sure his comments in the middle of an all hands meeting were just a result of emotion and not his real feelings.
I was frustrated and upset that an Amazon employee would endanger the health and safety of other Amazonians by repeatedly returning to the premises after having been warned to quarantine himself after exposure to virus COVID-19, he said. I let my emotions draft my words and get the better of me. So Small's whole point was that he was not the only one exposed to the coworker who tested positive. So he was not really exposing anyone else to any greater risk necessarily. But moreover, his whole point was to try to agitate for better working conditions for those who are still there, which I wholeheartedly approve of. The notes also reference Amazon's concerns about the coronavirus pandemic's impact on the economy and its own efforts to ramp up testing and lab capacity, both within the company and around the country. They discuss the benefits of testing all employees, even asymptomatic ones. Yeah, because big companies like Amazon have the money to get people tested. That can have benefits both for the system and for our employees, Zapolsky wrote. Every test we do is incremental and is one less test that existing resources have to do. Amazon also weighed ways to generate a PR win from their mask stockpile with different and bold ways of giving away surplus masks to hospitals and independent grocers. If we can get masks in quantity, it's a fantastic gift if we donate strategically. Yeah, altruism as PR, which is not really altruistic. Another idea for giving masks away, give 1,000 masks to every police station in the country. Adding, this reminds folks it's not just medical workers who need these. No, but honestly, it would probably be better to give it to medical workers if you're just going to give them away like that, because people in the medical industry are being given masks and expected to keep using the same one for days at a time, which, given that the best practice is to have a new mask on for every new patient you see, if you have 35 million masks that have been ordered for your workers, that's good. If you're considering giving 1,000 masks to every police station in the country, maybe considering giving those to hospitals instead. This is all assuming these are the N95 masks that are actually effective against coronavirus and not paper cloth masks. They discussed alternative ways to obtain or produce protective masks, as well as working with other companies that have capacity to make them. There are ways of making FDA-approved surgical and other masks from fabric, and we're working with those manufacturers as well, Zapolsky's notes said. The consensus at the meeting was that the CDC would be recommending everyone wear masks, if not for the lack of supply. CDC's hesitancy to recommend masks has been to manage supply, though that's a bad reason to sacrifice scientific integrity. So this is another example of capitalism creating problems for people. The reason why there aren't enough masks, because we only keep enough on hand for what the hospitals and companies think is needed on a regular day. Production should have ramped up weeks ago, more than a month ago. But it's only just now starting to get ramped up, and from what I understand is not being ramped up to the point it needs to be. Amazon has also begun efforts to produce masks itself. While the company has a line of sight on a supply of N95 masks, the note said Amazon is starting to put together internal efforts for mask production, though this is described as more of a 9-month type project. So that means that they're either retrofitting an existing factory or buying or building a factory to produce the masks. Zapolsky's notes implied that the company's attempts to purchase N95 masks from China fell through. China has deemed N95 masks as strategic, he wrote. They're keeping them for optionality. They also want to use them for diplomacy. The masks in China that we thought we had probably got redirected by profiteers.
Spake the profiteer.
So yeah, this is a really fucked up situation with Smalls getting fired. Basically, though they didn't say it, it's pretty clear he was fired because he was agitating for unionization at least his warehouse, if not Amazon warehouses nationwide. And that's a real bad thing, for which Amazon will face no penalty because they are a multi-billion-dollar company. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. See you next time.